So what about the outlook for ASEAN markets? For starters anyway, nearer to home, in Malaysia itself, we've started to see a very strong recovery in the export markets and also a resurgence in consumer spending, and on the back of the fact that the government continues to maintain very low interest rates. Our outlook on interest rates continue to be basically at about the current levels, if not at probably another 25 basis points before the year end, if there is some form of softness in terms of economic activity. But then we move away from Malaysia, for example, and we start to look at beyond the other ASEAN markets, like in Indonesia, for example, or in Thailand, for example. I do see pockets of opportunity down there. Our view down there is that we are basically looking at this as very value countries out there, where we see opportunities in the tourism sector, we see opportunities, for example, in the commodity sector in Indonesia, and also to a certain extent also some of the e-commerce plays in Indonesia itself. Where we are more constructive on and quite positive over the longer term is that we continue to be fairly positive, for example, on Vietnam, where we see basically the COVID cases starting to lower very significantly. Consumer spending is rebounding very strongly. But more importantly, Vietnam continues to be the major beneficiary of the supply chain disruption that's happening across Asia, particularly in China, as you probably heard. And so Vietnam is a key market that we continue to invest in and put more money into it, because we think that's one of the biggest drivers of the ASEAN miracle, as we call it, because we do think that Vietnam will come out of this much stronger than we have been before, and the economy continues to be on a positive front. So in conclusion, our view is the following. You need to stay invested for one. You need to stay disciplined in your approach towards this investment cycle that we're in, where you need to take advantage of any form of volatility. And you've seen that happen over and over again in March, in May, and of course in the month of October, where even despite the fact that we saw people worrying about the US president elections, where people worried about the COVID-19 resurging, and the fact that people were worried about the outlook of FY21. Guess what? Markets continue to rise in the month of October. One of the strongest October months we've seen in record years. And so our view is that you need to stay invested. You need to basically approach this in a disciplined manner, focus on your risk appetites, on what kind of portfolios you want to invest in, but more importantly, speak to our people on the ground who understand me. Our view is a very simple approach towards investment. Stay invested, stay on Asia Pacific. If you need to be more aggressive, go and buy some China funds, go buy some technology funds. But if you want to be a more balanced approach, go out there and buy our balanced funds. But more importantly, don't forget that in this kind of environment, this is where the opportunity is, despite the perception that there are a lot of uncertainties out there. Thank you very much for your time, and hope all of you are safe